and welcome to this recipe tutorial where I'll be showing you how to make a recipe I have called breakfast brioche bun. So this is being shared as part of the most recent episode of Seeds of Health called Signs of Prediabetes, and you can get access to that in the description below. But this breakfast bun hopefully will remind you of a brioche, sweet and buttery. However, this recipe is lower in saturated fat, and I use avocado butter. So if you have seen my recipe tutorial for hemp seed butter, it's the same idea. It's a 1-to-1 ratio of avocado oil and salted butter, just mixed together using a whisk. You don't need a hand mixer if you don't have one. I didn't use one, and that's just set in the fridge. I also used the recipe for my Yes to Healthy Eating plant cream, and you can see other alternatives in the recipe link below. For this recipe, you will need some wholemeal flour, some baking powder, salt, then honey, and this is the avocado butter here. And this is the Yes to Healthy Eating plant cream. I'm adding apple cider vinegar, and together with the plant cream, it kind of forms a vegan buttermilk. So this is really handy if you don't have an acidic alternative like yogurt on hand. You can sort of use a plant milk and some apple cider vinegar together. With some gloves, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way and getting my hands in there with some gloves and mixing it very thoroughly. Once it's combined, knead it for about 5 minutes. At this stage, it's going to be very soft, sort of, almost barely any resistance whilst making the dough. Not to worry, we're going to cover that and let it set in the fridge, let it relax in the fridge for about 15 minutes. After the dough has had some time in the fridge for 15 minutes, then I'm going to add some oat flour and also a little bit more of the avocado butter. I have a video on the Yes to Healthy Eating YouTube channel on how to make your own oat flour. You do not need to buy oat flour. You can simply get some oats and a blender and make it yourself. So do check that out if you require some assistance there. Also, just to note, instead of using avocado butter, you could also use an olive spread, and you can also make an olive spread with the same 1-to-1 ratio if you would like. In terms of the taste of avocado butter, I love it. It tastes very buttery, creamy. It reminds you of olive spread. It's just that you get a different profile of nutrients there. I've used it in mashed potato, on toast, plain. It's really delicious, so I do recommend it. In total, the dough should weigh about 450 grams. You might want to weigh it yourself if you'd like. And then dividing that by 6 bread rolls, that's about 75 grams each. So I'm weighing each dough balls to evenly distribute it. And as you can see, it comes off nice and easy. It's very easy to work with now. It was very sticky earlier, not to worry. It becomes very easy, and it should come away, especially because that butter is giving it a nice consistency. So Go ahead and divide it. Once you take some dough from the bowl, press 0, zero it or start it again, and then take another 75 grams until you have rolled each dough and placed it on the baking tray that has been lined with baking or parchment paper. Just to note as well that once you add the oat flour and the extra avocado butter, you don't need to go and knead it again for 5 minutes. Just make sure it's combined well, that's all, and then you're ready to go. After this, I'm going to press each dough ball lightly. Depending on how flat you press it will determine the shape. I've had more round ones and I've had a more flat one, so you really are in control on how you want the end result to look. If you look on the website, you'll see images. Some of them look more round, some of them look more flat. And after this, I'm going to apply an egg wash, lightly coat it with 1 egg and a tablespoon of water whisked together. And when you're applying the egg wash, I'd recommend that you do not put too much so that it doesn't fall to the baking paper and have like a lot of egg around it, because then you basically be baking some eggs. So just a light coating and sprinkle it with some seeds. I used mixed seeds and sesame seeds, and you're ready to bake this. I always put the oven on right at the beginning of the recipe because when baking bread, I like it to be especially very hot. So the oven is ready to bake this. Even though this recipe is called a breakfast brioche bun, you can go ahead and have it at lunchtime and dinner time as a bread roll, next to a soup, next to, I'm having steak tonight, so I'm having a little bit of bread because I baked this today. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and happy cooking.